Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
No Dallas today. Tending to a personal matter this evening. So it is Joey pinch hitting on a Thursday. It's Jay Hay. It's Jake, the sneaky MVP of the Derby. And then the champion. Connor Jeffers joins us today, who does our social, kills at doing social, and then also killed all of us at the first annual, the inaugural Underdog Dinger Derby live, attempted to be live from Arlington, Texas, in 117 degree heat. Every time I reference the temperature, I add a degree. Connor, welcome to your second. It's your second appearance on the show, but the first where your face is being shown.
Yes, it's exciting.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people obviously follow Baseball is Dead on social media. A lot of folks didn't really know who the man was behind it. He plays college baseball. We hyped you up going into the Derby. Like, I was telling the guys at the house the story about how, like, my mom texted me, and this was after we had already done the Derby, but we're going to address the fuck up in greater detail. We had attempted to go live the Dinger Derby, and she texted me and said, "Who won?" And I said, "Who the fuck do you think won?" And I think she took that as I was telling her that I won, but I thought I made it abundantly clear, like, Connor is going to win this thing. It's just a matter of who is in the finals against him. Is there drama in his road to the finals? Which there was. There was some drama getting there. But I think when we go back and look at the inaugural Dinger Derby, besides Connor winning it all, which you're an idiot if you didn't think he would, the standout performance was none other than Jake Yazzie. Like, how the fuck did we overlook Jake's ability to mash homers? Like, I feel stupid. Like, I'm embarrassed. I apologize, Jake. I wasn't familiar with your game, but it was, like I said, 118 degrees on the field. And we had, how many people went before you, Jake? 2 or 3?
4, I think.
4 people went before you. I mean, did Connor go before you?
No,
he went after you, obviously, because he was your opponent.
Yep.
So you had, did Joey,
me and Joey went ahead. Yeah.
Tyler in Dallas. So you had 4 guys go out there, and Jake goes out there and becomes number 1 on the leaderboard. And so we have to discuss a lot of elements to this, Jake. First and foremost, your seating was disrespectful after looking at your performance. And there were a lot of fans that tuned in for the Derby that were like, Jake should have advanced to the semifinals based on his total. Like, he just got a shitty matchup, and by his ability to hit more home runs than everyone who came before him, he shouldn't have been denied. Like, his seeding was wrong. Like, he got denied the semifinals because of shitty seeding. Like, that's, like, you got fucked big time, Jake.
Yeah, I knew I was going to get fucked, honestly. Going into it, like, the matchup, it was tough. It's funny because I said in the outfield to Connor right before my at-bat, how many home runs do I have to hit to make you nervous? And he said 10. And so I hit exactly 10. I thought I had a chance after I hit 10, but literally Connor's first swing, he just hit one like 250 feet. So I was like, I'm absolutely done right when his at-bat started. But no, it was fun going out there and hitting 10 for sure.
I want to go back to Jared saying that he owed you an apology, and that he wasn't familiar with his game. I'm actually going to say that I don't owe you an apology, because I think you intentionally threw us all off the scent. I mean, I saw your round of BP, brother, and that was nothing like what you did on the big stage. So I think you were slow playing all of us. So I would, I'm hesitant to apologize. I feel like I got played kind of.
No, That's a fair take. I think what happened was I just timed my warm up perfectly. Like, instead of going all out too hard in the beginning and gassing myself up, I just had like the perfect amount of energy for my round. So I'll go with that.
Yeah, I just, the amount of people that were stunned at Jake's performance. I mean, he went out there and hit 10 home runs for Section 10, which obviously was not lost on me. And if Jake had his first round against Connor's second round, he would have eliminated Connor. Like that's just what it was. Connor's second round would not have been good enough to beat Jake's first round. That's just Jake got fucked. Jake had an excellent first round. Was the denied Cinderella story of the whole thing. You had Joey going out there wearing just socks. I thought before the Derby, so he wasn't wearing shoes, and I was interviewing Joe, and I was like, "Well, all right, so what's the deal?" Like when I was doing the introductions before, what's the deal with the no shoes? And he said he was grounding. And I was like, okay, all right, that's a little Tristan Casas tip and trick. A lot of people were using Tristan Casas tips and tricks before the Derby. But Joey was grounding with no sneakers on. And then I saw him get in the box with no sneakers. Joe, can you talk to us a little bit about why we went with no sneakers in the box? I thought for sure that it was just like a pre-game ritual.
Nah, it felt right. It just felt right to go no shoes, honestly. Nice little twist, and it was cooler. I think I might have been hotter with no shoes because the ground was kind of hot.
That's what I said. I was like, how the fuck is this dude not burning his feet right now?
I was burning my feet, but I pushed through. I probably would have hit more with shoes or maybe not. We don't fucking know.
We don't know.
We don't know. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
I had no shoes. I ruined my socks for the Derb.
I ruined my sneakers. Yeah, my shoes are just a big dust ball.
Yeah, I got dusty shoes. And my shoes are white, which is, you know how dust works on those.
Yeah.
I put it on. I got look at this. Look at my leg right now from the bull. Do you see that?
What am I looking at here?
That bruise.
From the bull. Oh yeah. I mean, Joe basically did everything you shouldn't do leading up to participating in a Dinger Derby. He was out back taking swings off of Connor with a wooden stick and developed a series of blisters on both of his palms that were bleeding and peeling during the Derby. He didn't wear sneakers, and then he risked his life on a mechanical bull a couple nights before the Dinger Derby and was all bruised up. Like, you could make the case that if Joe just was in a hyperbaric chamber leading up to the Derby, he has a shot at taking it down.
I'll make that case too. No excuses, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no excuses. No excuses, but looking back at the footage, Connor, I mean, my second round, I probably saw 8 strikes and they were all home runs. The rest were balls in the dirt or up over my head. And I said I'm going to open up the investigation. So Cade is Connor's friend who just donated his body to this Dinger Derby. Like the next day, he's like, I feel like I just threw 18 innings, which he pretty much did. But in my second round, if you go back and look at the tape, I called a timeout, not because I was tired. That timeout was for Cade because there was maybe 9 pitches. One of them was a strike. And I was like, timeout. Like, he needs a breather, not me. So I kind of got fucked in my second round, Connor. Any comments on that?
I'm going to deny your claim to review the tape because I went back and watched too, and there were some just titty high hung wiffle balls that were just flipped right onto the backstop, almost hit Joe West. So
yeah, that's gonna be my defense. I know people said I was gonna be insufferable about it. I'm not. I'm just bringing up valid points. Go back and watch the tape. It's on our YouTube channel, the inaugural Underdog Dinger Derby. And my second round, lot of balls. And Connor needed 1 home run to eliminate me. And he got a lot of strikes. Quicker pace. He was getting the balls to Connor like his life depended on it. He was taking his sweet ass time with me. Balls in the dirt, balls over my head. It was a tough scene. I'm not saying no excuses. You still got to hit the home runs. But at the end of the day, Connor takes down the inaugural Dinger Derby. And I will say this for a behind the scenes thing. Dallas Braden, again, not with us on this episode. He threw up after the cameras were off. Like, the Dinger Derby ended. We said goodbye to the folks at home. He sat in the dugout, and I went to, forget what I was going to say, but I was like walking up to him I was like, that went really well, right? And he goes, immediately. I was like, man, like, besides like the whole like live thing, like the actual show was pretty damn good. And he just proceeded to puke, and there's drool all over his face.
Someone was waiting to take a photo with him while he was puking.
Yes. Yep.
Well, not like take the photo while he was puking, but they waited for him to finish puking so that they could take the photo.
Correct. Yeah. There was a young couple who just stumbled upon the Dinger Derby. I believe didn't know who we were upon arrival, but by the end of it, huge BID fans. Just like, man, this shit's great. So Dallas took a post. I would love to see that picture, by the way, like 30 seconds after puking his brains out, taking a picture with these young, exciting fans. But yeah, so to the elephant in the room, it was supposed to be live and the equipment, I guess, overheated and it fucked up the internet. So we couldn't live stream. So it was a lot of chaos. The first couple of rounds, like I'm wearing an IFB in my ear. Dallas is wearing an IFB. So like I'm hearing from the truck and they're saying, we got to stop. Like the internet's down. We got to stop. Then I'm hearing from our production people coming up to me being like, we just got to roll. We just got to go. Keep going. It's being recorded. So just keep it going. So I'm getting all kinds of direction from all over the place. Dallas and I basically made the decision to just like, all right, if we have to stop again, we're just going to keep going because it is being recorded. We can edit in post-production. We'll have to chalk up the live aspect to it as an L. It was a big L to take, but we didn't really have a choice. We weren't gonna like do it again tomorrow. Like Dallas's flight was Tuesday early, so we had to do it, and we did it. So people still got the live experience of it though, because it was pre-recorded and we premiered it on our YouTube channel as a live viewing experience. So people were in the comments and they got to take it in as a live experience together, which was cool. So shout out to everyone who was watching it live. But yeah, no,
which included us together.
Yeah. That did kind of add to it. Was you had basically all the participants were in the chat with you to watch the Derby premiere, which was cool. But yeah, all in all, outside of the equipment live aspect blunder, it was a really fun day. And I'm looking forward to doing it next year indoors. I'm not doing that. Connor is like, he's a down south kind of guy. So he got to play a full college baseball season. So he was in shape and he's used to the heat. He had and he picked the fucking pitcher. He had every advantage in the world like you could think of. And he was probably on steroids. I don't know. Were you on steroids, Connor?
No, but I even think you can pick the pitcher. We can be inside. You can move my fence back 30 feet. I think I'm still have a great chance next year.
I will take that. And if they're all right, put it this way, on the record, inside a 30-foot extra fence for Connor, like we have the Connor temp fence beyond our fence. And pitcher, fence back, inside. I mean, you only beat me by one home run.
He's also got incredible youth.
Yeah.
I think I realized at some point after the fact that I started college, I believe a year before Connor's mom did.
Yeah. That was another advantage he had. His whole family was there cheering him on. No one that cared about me was there. I had no one cheering me on. People wanted me to lose.
Why don't we do it in the winter, man? Because you Boston guys are so scared of the heat. You guys love the elements or hate the elements. Do it in the winter. Your neck of the woods.
I would do that. I used to play football in the wintertime.
Dinger Derby in the snow sounds awful. I'd rather do it in the heat again.
You guys forget. I play ball in Oklahoma. Our first game is 35 degrees with a 30-mile-an-hour wind.
That's cap. It doesn't get cold in Oklahoma. Shut up.
That's cap.
That's cap.
Nobody believes that, buddy. Yeah, it gets cold in Oklahoma. Isn't that the Dust Bowl, brother? Ain't no way.
We had a practice in January preseason. Our coach just wanted us outside to get used to the element. It was 15 degrees.
In Oklahoma. Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah. I have to address my first round where I gassed out halfway through. If you listen to, like, these are people that obviously don't listen to the podcast. I told everyone that was going to happen. I said, I'm going to come out firing that first half, which I did. And then the second half, I ran out of gas. It was too hot and I don't have good cardio.
you called your exact performance.
Yeah.
Whether people want to give you credit for that or not because you didn't win, I don't really care. But like, what happened on the field was exactly what you said would happen.
Correct. Yes, it's a 3-minute round. I said I was gonna fucking out homer everyone in the first half, and then in the second half I would run out of gas. I think I hit 8 home runs in the first half. So if you extrapolate that over a full round, then that's 16 home runs, which is what Connor did. And everyone was like, "Oh, Connor, what a monster!" If I didn't rip darts and refuse to do cardio and legs, then guess what? That's probably a 20 homer round based on that pace. It is. That's just math, you know? And beating Steve kind of nailed it. Steve said, I'm not as bad as Jared thinks I am, and Jared's not as good as he thinks he is. All that being said, he still lost. It was whatever it was, 7 or 8-5, but I had beaten him by like a minute in, and then I started bunting because I had a moment there. Have any of you ever actually passed out before?
No.
You have, Jay? So like
I've fainted.
Yeah.
Does that count? Yeah.
So like when you're about to faint, like you know that it's coming and there's nothing that you can do to stop it. I had that moment in the batter's box, like right before I called time. So it was like a rush of sensation, like coming up to the top of my head. And I was like, oh fuck, I'm about to go down. And I called time and went to my knees on the ground. And Dallas is trying to interview me, and I'm like whispering to him because I felt like if I projected my voice that I was going to puke. Like if I like spoke like this, that puke was going to come out of my mouth. So I was whispering to Dallas and fighting for my consciousness. Still got back in the batter's box and just fought through it. Just had a battle. Just absolutely had a battle.
I know people are going to say like, oh, you know, stop crying. Like the conditions were legitimately tough, not like in a complaint way. It's just like it was very hot outside and we got there very early. I remember, to your point about almost fainting, I wasn't going to beat Joey regardless. These aren't excuses, but like I remember when my round finished, you guys came over to interview me. And at one point I put my hand on Dallas's back, and it was because my hands started tingling.
Yeah.
Like my arm, both of my, and I was like, I should probably get some support here while we're doing this like semi-live production. And yeah, you know, I felt fine later that day, but it was, in the moment, it was a true test of endurance and will and all those sorts of things.
Well,
and I came up a little short on that.
You know who didn't complain about the elements not one time other than me, or Connor, or the Beast, or even Dallas, but Joe West, 91.
That's true.
No, actually, I think Joe West was actually the only person. I think all the other people you named actually did complain, including yourself. But Joe West was literally complaintless.
Yeah. Joe West was, what an experience that was to have Joe West there, who I've just been describing as like my long lost grandpa. Like he showed up. He was jovial. He was in a great mood. He was cracking jokes. He was busting balls. He was telling stories. And before he left, he was like, "Take my number." Like he wanted to stay in touch. I took his number. I texted him. I was like, "Jared Carabas, Baseball is Dead podcast." And the next day, I'm sitting next to Jay Hay outside having our little morning powwow. And I look over at Jay Hay. I was like, "Joe West is calling me right now." And so we're talking, just, you know, having a good time, just sharing stories, keeping in touch. And I have to send him the Derby. I don't think he's seen it yet, but he wanted to see it in its entirety. So I'm going to send it to him. And yeah, Joe West is going to end up being my new pen pal.
One of the things he specifically asked you on the call was, just to be clear, he really wants to watch the Derby.
Yes.
Like he wanted to make sure when it was coming out and all that sort of stuff. I think my favorite part about Joe West, he did this to you because you told me about it. And I think he did it on the call, and he quote unquote did it to me while I was talking to him, is he will reference people as if every single person in the world should know who that is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have truly no idea who that person is. And I'm just like nodding my head like, am I an idiot for not knowing who this guy who used to perform with the Oak Ridge Boys is? Like, okay, this is a great story, but I have no idea what this man's talking about. He was awesome though. Like, I don't really know what I expected, but he was very funny. Obviously had the stories like you were talking about, and was a good sport about the whole thing.
He's just very, I don't know what the right word is. It's not like he is charming in a way, but that's not the word that I'm like wholesome. He's wholesome. Yeah.
Yeah, he was more mild-mannered in a way than my conception of Joe West was. And maybe that's just what happens when you get a little bit older and exit the game. But the grandpa thing is spot on. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Just like any of those like traditional memories that you have of like a grandpa, just always happy, always in a good mood, just wants to reach into his pocket and sneak you a $20 bill like that. That's the kind of vibes that Joe West was giving off. It was excellent.
I also didn't realize like how funny he was on the broadcast. Cause like I most of us weren't mic'd up. We didn't have like any earpieces on. So like I couldn't necessarily hear all the things that Joe West was saying as I was shagging balls in the outfield or hanging out. But like watching it back, it was a tremendous add to the broadcast, his little quips. And I think the best thing he did was just when he would laugh at like he would just snicker at somebody's performance and not even provide commentary, just be like this dude sucks at this, probably with me, but like, yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah. Great experience. We will do it again next year. And we're also talking about other ideas that we can come prepared with for next year, including a kind of like our own version of an All-Star game. And maybe another kind of home run derby concept. People were asking about the Family Feud idea. Like, could we have pulled it off? Maybe, but we didn't want to risk another, like, we can't get this thing up and running event. So we didn't end up doing it, which sucks because it would have been cool. But yeah, the people that were asking about the Family Feud Section 10 versus Baseball's Dead, where is it? Did it happen? After the Derby didn't go off well, we were not about to be like, all right, but we got Family Feud coming up, and then not be able to deliver on that. So yeah, we'll do it when we can, I guess. I don't know when we're all going to be in the same place at the same time again, but maybe we can do it remote. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, we'll figure something out because we do want to do it and we want to deliver on that. But
if the Red Sox make the World Series,
yeah, that could be
that's a scenario where we'd all be together probably.
Yeah. Connor's at work right now, so I'm going to ask him for his final thoughts on the Dinger Derby, and then you can get back to work.
Final thoughts. It was awesome. Not going to complain about how hot it was, although it was hot, but that's also not the reason that I won. Hopefully we get to do it next year inside so we can get a lot more strikes, and then I can hit 35 in a round. So.
All right. That's he's calling a shot right now. 35 home runs for Connor in the first round of the 2025 Dinger Derby, live from Atlanta, Georgia. Connor, thank you as always for your work on the social, and congratulations on taking home the title belt that looked fucking awesome, by the way. Shout out to Underdog. They got a title belt made for the Dinger Derby. Well, where'd you put it? You cut out. Oh.
There it is. Right now, it was on my dresser, but now I put it on hanging over like the shades in my room, like on the edge. So I'll send you a picture of it. I might just post it actually, so everyone can get a nice view.
Yeah, it is pretty badass. All right, Connor, we'll be talking to you.
Thanks for having me. Go Rangers.
That's a champ. Go Rangers. That's a champ. Connor Jeffers. But yeah, we've got much to get into in terms of the real home run derby and other All-Star game related thoughts and reactions. But you already know the deal. MLB season is in full swing in Underdog Fantasy. wants to make it a lot more interesting, Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats, strikeouts, total bases, home runs, and so much more. Make entries of all baseball or mix and match across your other favorite sports. You can win up to 100 times your money, and it's a ton of fun. Joe, what was your higher or lower for your first round of homers?
8.5.
Oh, so you hit it.
I think I missed it.
No,
First
I
round, I
believe
got 8.
Oh,
I thought it was 9.5.
I thought it was 9. Yeah.
I thought they changed it. Maybe I thought it was 9.5
Oh,
too.
maybe,
Then I saw
maybe.
it was 8.5. And
Yeah,
if you
those-
look at the tape, well, did everyone get refunded? I heard people.
If you lost, but I think
Yeah.
the wins were granted. Yes.
Okay, so
If you lost, they were refunded. If you won, you were rewarded.
well, I mean, if you look back at the tape, in my first round, I hit one that I think, or maybe in my second round, I hit one that like went out and then came back in. I don't know if we get another camera angle, but I think you guys robbed me of a homer. Not complaining.
Okay. Also, Tyler Milliken battled.
Sucked ass.
He was sick. He basically showed up in Texas, dove in the pool on the first morning, and was never the same. It's just
I'm not convinced that was a sickness. I feel like that was just like a body failure.
Well, had he never been on a plane before, it's probably altitude, dude.
It was his second plane ride.
Yeah, man. He
He
wasn't
got-
acclimated.
He was dealing with altitude sickness and then plunged into the depths of that 4-foot pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably got the bends, you know?
He-
That's probably what it was. He probably got too much nitrogen in his blood.
It was bad. It was bad. He was sick as a dog for the entire trip. I felt bad because obviously, you know, he had to take vacation days at his real job to go on this trip. I mean, he still delivered. It's not like he was bedridden to the point where he missed
for
the
sure.
events. He powered through. He still did the Derby. He's still in a lot of the content. But that does suck that he got sick the second that he got there. It's such a Tyler thing to happen. And then Joe West gifted him a home run. He didn't hit any home runs in the first round. Joe tried to give him one. He hit a ball in the air that Joey like windmill dunked over the fence to give him a home run. So
I gave J-Hay one too. I think that one counted.
yeah, I don't think Joe West gave J-Hay that one, but he did give one to Tyler. And even Tyler himself has said, I don't want it. I want a pity home run. So he didn't hit any. He'll be training. He'll be motivated for next year for his redemption arc. We should do a vlog on that. Like Tyler, like starting training this week for the home run derby next year.
He may not have hit any homers, but he had plenty of good moments.
He did. And also he took like 19 rounds of BP in the heat before he.
So I'm sympathetic to that, though, to an extent, because I also took an enormous amount of BP, and I'm paying more for that now, I think, than I did in my actual round. But like, I don't know if he was using the same logic, but at some point, like, I hadn't practiced leading up to it. We didn't really do any hitting in the backyard or anything leading up to it, very little. So like, I sort of made a choice. I was like, I need to like keep taking BP until I can like figure out how to elevate the ball enough to hit a few homers. Otherwise, like, what am I conserving energy for? Like a round where I hit a home run? Like, so, you know, lesson learned for next year. Probably don't need to show up to the field 2.5 hours beforehand. But I think there were a lot of questions, and that included like how to hit.
You did take a lot of BP out there, Jay. You were
Yeah, it was a
visualizing.
choice.
Yep.
I'm not even saying it was a mistake. It's just like had to make a choice.
That's such a bad look for me because my whole strategy was I did one round of BP. I took like 4 swings. And then when I hit my first home run, I just quit. And I was like, I'm staying in the shade. I'm conserving my energy. I was like, I know that I can hit a home run here. I just wanted to see one. And I'm not going to take a million swings because I don't need to.
And you still gassed.
And I still gassed. Yeah. But it was odd because I didn't gas in the second round, which you would have thought I would die in the second round if I gassed halfway through the first. But then in the second, I actually hit more than I did in the first. I don't know. It was very strange.
I just shout out to like the production side too. I think it was so cool that we had highlight packages of guys like going into different rounds. Like, I don't think that kind of stuff should be overlooked. Like I didn't really watch the highlight packages on the monitors when you guys were broadcasting it, but when I watched the replay, obviously as we were all together, like that was so sick. And like the what else was I thinking about that was so cool? Oh, when you and Connor had the semifinals dispute as to whether there was a home run or not. That just for everybody who watched it, who's not behind the scenes at all, that wasn't edited in a way where it was like we sat there for 5 or 10 minutes waiting for a replay. That was essentially instantaneous. Yeah. Like that, what you saw on the video was how it played out in real life. And I was like, wait a second, we already have the replay. Like I went over to the, I don't know if they showed this part, but like I went over to the monitor with you because I was like, I'm not letting Jared review his own fucking play. and I remember like watching the replay and it's like, you got the ticker in the bottom, the ball's released. It's like they rewound it and like did it again. And I was like, this is basically like a real baseball broadcast in some senses. Like it was very badass.
It was great. Joe, any final thoughts on the Dinger Derby?
Yeah, man. You guys got to get in shape, dude. It wasn't even that hot. I mean, it was hot, but like
it was hot.
Was like I took a lot of batting practice too. I wasn't winded. I was chilling. Bro, I was back in 24-hour fitness the next day, bright and early.
Yeah, you were. Actually, strangely enough, I didn't wake up feeling like I got hit by a truck until today. Like the Derby was on Monday. Woke up Tuesday, fine. Wednesday, fine. The only thing that hurt were my hands. And then I woke up this morning in a world of pain. Like my lower to mid back just felt like I got hit by a bus. So I'll be in better shape next year.
Yeah, I'll be in better shape next year. A lot of you guys are built for the computer, man.
Yeah. Well, that is what we'd be doing. Make sure you sign up with the promo code Jared. That's Jared to get up to $250 in bonus cash and a special pick on Underdog. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared. Okay. The trip itself was a lot of fun. We did not get to do an escape room, which sucks, but we did get a ton of vlog content. The vlog, I'm sure, because right now, shout out to our own production team. Because after the live debacle, there was an audio issue where we thought from like the 30-minute mark in that we just had no audio for the rest of the Derby, which would have been fucking awful. Like we were thinking about ways to make it funny where we would dub over our own commentary to the recording of the Derby and make wiffle ball sound effects for when home runs were being hit. Like it was almost a complete and total disaster. So shout out to you, Jake, Mike Emond, Jeremy. Like we had our own guys on hand that were able to salvage this because it was almost, like, you talk about disaster, like it was almost a complete disaster. But our guys were able to recoup the files and put everything together and make sure that it was on our YouTube channel. And you wouldn't have even have known that there was almost a huge production issue with the entire file. So shout out to you guys working hard behind the scenes.
Shout out to them. And by the way, Jake, Jeremy, and Mike, the behind the scenes guys on these podcasts, it wasn't their fault that live stream didn't work.
No,
I know they're the behind the scene guys, so you might think it was. It had nothing to do with them. They actually saved the stream. Stream was cooked, but they saved the video.
Yes,
but that was
because people were like, guys, don't get on Jake. It's his first major production. Like, cut him some slack. It had nothing to do with Jake. It was not. The reason why
not his first.
Yeah, also not his first. The live failure was not on our guys. That was not on our guys. They actually worked tirelessly to make sure that everything was done correctly and put out as such once it was all put together.
The vlog's also going to look hot as shit.
Yeah.
The first thing my wife said, I think after Hello, the first thing my wife said to me after she got home was how sharp and good everything that we shot that we've posted to social was. And she's like, who did that? And I was like, Oh yeah, that was our guys. That was Mike, Jeremy, Jake. Like, it was props to them. Look, it really does look great.
But Andre came down early and got drone shots for us. Like, we had like professional drone shots of the house, of the area downtown. So yeah, everything looked so fucking professional, and it was just a little team of us. And I was talking to Mike on the way to the airport, and he's like, "This trip just feels like different. Like it feels like like a team." And I was like, "Yeah, that's because at Barstool, at DraftKings, like I became friends with a lot of those people behind the scenes. But for what we have going on at Underdog, these are all handpicked people. Everyone that works on production is like came up a fan of both shows. They are friends of ours in real life that we picked to do these roles because A, they're really fucking good at what they do, and B, we know that they're passionate about it because they started as fans of the shows first. And then of course, like the personalities, the co-hosts on both shows were also handpicked. Like no one was just forced upon us, like that's why I think what you're seeing with what we're doing now with Underdog, it's coming across as like, man, these guys are really hitting their stride. And like, man, this content really looks fucking awesome. It's because everyone involved is invested in a way that I don't think we've ever experienced before. So that's why it looks fucking awesome. So when you see the vlogs that come out, like the All-Star, I think vlog is going to take a while. A, because it was 5 days, and B, because like the vlog is a one-man team. Like Mike Eamon is a one-man team on the vlog, and he's shot. Jake, what's the one that's coming out before this? We did the NASCAR. What was after that?
We have the Brad Keselowski interview coming out.
Okay. Yeah. And then, yeah, like we just have like a bunch of shit coming out, and it's great. It's everything that I've ever wanted what we've been doing to be. It's the podcast, but then it's the content outside of the podcast. Like the whole Barstool experience, it was like, yeah, we have this baseball podcast and this Red Sox podcast, but then the content outside the podcast was like, I'm just going to yell at Hubs in the office again. And, we're doing this college basketball tournament, and like, we're doing a spelling bee. And like, but now the content outside of the podcast is just more baseball content that we want to be doing. It's us going to games. It's us going to NASCAR, but there's a baseball twist on it. It's us doing the Dinger Derby. It's us at the All-Star Game. It's us in the playoffs. The playoff content is going to be fucking awesome because the podcasts are going to be great. They're always great when we're together. When everyone is in the same room, the podcast is just that much better. And I'm hoping all of our teams will be there. The Braves, I mean, obviously not the A's, but the Braves will be there. Hopefully the Red Sox will be there. Hopefully the Guardians will be there. They probably will be. So this could be the best year of content that we as a group have ever created. And I'm very, very excited about that because we're only at the halfway point. And all the good shit is going to be happening at the end. Not that, I mean, it basically starts now. It's almost like the Dinger Derby was like the opening act to be able to have everyone in the same place for the first time. Like that's the first time that like Joey interacted with Tyler. It's just like, when you have like Marvel and DC comic book characters coming together, you're like, whoa, I didn't think that they would ever interact with each other. So yeah, I'm very excited about the content that we have coming down the pipeline. But it all started at the All-Star Game in Dallas, Texas. But to the real Home Run Derby, which drew the lowest audience since 2014. Does that surprise anybody here?
No.
Not really.
I saw like a graphic somewhere being like, it was like Judge and Stanton and Harper and Yordan. And they're like, make it happen, MLB. And it's like, that's not how this works.
What do you mean? It's not how it works. But don't you wish that would happen?
I do wish that it would happen, but the idea that MLB can make that happen is not a thing.
Mm-hmm. It's about the fans. We got to put pressure on these guys. Same thing with World Baseball Classic. Why are you being a pussy? Do the Home Run Derby. It's cool.
Yeah.
Tweet that right now, Jared, with your big audience. Stop being a pussy, Aaron Judge. Do the Derby.
Stop
Shohei, your
pussy.
elbow's fine. You just hit a fucking 4,000-foot home run in the All-Star game. You could take some hacks for the fans in the derb. Because what happened was what we thought might happen was like, if you're not going to get the best home run hitters, and maybe it's the new format, but I was underwhelmed with the amount of home runs being hit, and no one broke 30 in a round. And I don't think that's because of the format. I think that's just because the guys weren't really doing that good. None of them were doing that good.
Yeah, so that was one of my takeaways for sure. And I hate to be the negative guy on what's supposed to be a fun event or whatever, but I was underwhelmed with exactly what you said. The quantity of home runs. It doesn't ever seem like, in addition to like round totals, it never felt like we had a guy get on a heater that stacks up historically with what we see like once a year or once every other year from the Derby, where it's just like, this guy's unconscious right now and he keeps hitting them. I'm also like, we talked about the field. I think the field being underwhelming was telegraphed well in advance of the actual event. I'm also unclear as to what the changes in the Derby itself structurally, what that did to benefit the Derby. Like I know what the changes were, but having watched it inside, it didn't make it a better experience. So I'm just wondering what the net out was there. But yeah, I think on the whole, underwhelming overall. And I know the end got a little dramatic. But I mean, you could feel it was obviously Teoscar and Bobby Witt, with Bobby Witt hitting. Like the entire stadium wanted, with the exception of Teoscar's like friends, wanted Bobby Witt to win. And when he didn't, like even the in-stadium PA guy who's an MLB Network person,
Greg Amsner,
who was doing it, like could barely contain his disappointment that he was announcing Teoscar Hernandez as the winner. So like it just felt, it was the rare, I can't even remember the last time that this happens, but it's the rare instance where I think the All-Star Game actually was a better product and more entertaining than the Home Run Derby.
Yeah, that's true. That is rare. Because like you said, usually in Home Run Derby, like someone gets on a heater, like Julio Rodriguez a few years ago. I mean, it happens, I feel like every year, one guy just goes on heater, hits like 8 in a row. And when you're in there in person in LA, the only time I was in there, it goes fucking crazy. Because every home run is like, it's like building up. No one hit more than like 3 or 4 in a row at this Derby, which, it's bound to happen. I don't think it's really anybody's fault. It's just they didn't get, they just didn't get what they, you put the guys out there, you hope they hit the most home runs. Sometimes they do. Usually they do. This time they didn't. I don't think there's anything like bad about it.
But to Jay Hayes' point, he's 100% spot on about the All-Star Game. Even feeling like, usually like you go into it and you at least feel like the Home Run Derby is going to be the bigger event, and then the All-Star Game is kind of just a formality. To me, the All-Star Game felt like the bigger event, and then it was. Like, that's never a thing. The All-Star Game felt bigger because Paul Skeens was starting. And I know that once we saw the lineup card come out and Stephen Kwan was leading off, it's like, all right, yeah, like he's having a good year, but like, Jesus Christ, like hit Aaron Judge lead off and have Paul Skeens versus Aaron Judge open up the All-Star Game. Like, that's what everyone wants to see. If we're going to get away from the winner determining the home field advantage in the World Series, and it's now about showcasing the stars, then showcase the fucking stars. Like, we don't need, like, Stephen Kwan can bat 9th. Like, that's fine. It's not a big deal. He can hit 9th, and it's congratulations. You're an All-Star Game starter. You still get the honor of starting the All-Star Game. But what we wanted to see was play ball, Aaron Judge, Paul Skeens, let's go. And we still got the at bat, but we weren't promised it. Like, it's Juan Soto had to walk. Had to
not make him bat third. That's so stupid. You don't have to lead off Judge, but at least let him bat third instead of fourth. I mean, when Jay Hay tweeted that, I was like in shock. Like, why? Who made that decision to bat Judge fourth for absolutely no other reason that I can think of? Just lineup construction. We like him fourth. We like the guy on to get a home run. But yeah, dumb as shit.
It was one of the things that where I tweeted it, and like not a single person who disagreed in the responses presented a compelling reason why this was being done. Like, I didn't see one good counter to this. Like, oh, well, it happened. Anyway, like that it happened again, or that it happened is not justification for putting it at risk of not happening, right? And that it was a quick at bat that wasn't spectacular in any particular way also doesn't matter. It's why are we putting ourselves in a situation where the one thing that everybody wants to see is at risk of not happening? And yeah, we got it, which I'm glad about and acknowledged and all of that. But that just seems like such an unforced error. Like, do you know that the manager makes the lineup was something that people were responding to me. And I was like, hey man, or lady or whatever, you know what? Like the league can have it however they want. Do you think Bruce Bochy, if Manfred says, hey, buddy, we'd love to get Judge and Skeens together in the first inning, do you think we can not bat Stephen Kwan first? I think he probably would have been fine with it because the goal isn't to win necessarily. It's not the All-Star game in the 1960s. It's not even the All-Star game when it determined home field advantage. So it's just like, it's just unnecessary in so many ways.
Yeah. I don't know how I was shocked that the people were replying to that like disagreeing. Like, how could you disagree with that?
Oh, find something real to complain about. It's like, I'm not like crying about it. I'm not like sitting here in a ball. It's just like, it's the All-Star game. What are we supposed to talk about other than the fact that the matchup people want to see isn't on paper necessarily going to happen?
It's a showcase. Same thing with this whole Skeens argument leading up to it. And I guess Chris Sale pitching last made it obvious. But in my opinion, even as a Braves fan, if Chris Sale was up to pitch that game, I still would rather see Skeens start
100%.
than Chris Sale. And it would have been the smart decision to make. And, I don't know if that report is true, but they had a report that if Skeens wasn't picked as a starter, Manfred was preparing to step in and make him the starter.
The same logic that brings you to wanting Paul Skeens to start the All-Star game for the NL, it's the exact same line of thought that would then lead you to have, we should make sure that Aaron Judge and Paul Skeens are facing each other. It's an exhibition jewel event. It's not for the most hardcore of fans that pay attention to baseball every day, whether or not the All-Star game is happening. This is to draw casual fans in. Somebody called me a casual. It's like, well, I'm not, but that's exactly the point, actually, is that this is an event to draw in people like that and to grow the game and to create opportunities for flashbulb marquee moments. And that they put that on the line for no good reason is just, it's baffling.
The main
they
point
fumbled the bag, but I'll tell you, sorry, before you go, Jared, I'll tell you one thing MLB did a really good job of when it comes to attracting the casual fans is getting that young lady to do the national anthem at the home run derby. I mean, that was a great call because that shit went viral, bro. And she put on a performance that no one's ever going to forget. And I just want to wish her well, wish her the best. And I'm on her side. And I don't like people piling on too much. Okay. I actually thought the first half was a good rendition.
Well,
but in real time, we were there at the home run derby and I'm listening to this rendition and I am mocking it in real time next to Steve. Cause so at first, I live in a world now where I'm open-minded, there are a lot of different folks. Sure. And I developed this line of thinking when I worked at Barstool. And there would be people there that maybe I didn't think that their content was that great, but I could respect the fact that they've built an audience and people like this. And it's I had to accept that maybe I don't like this, but it's cool that other people do. And that's a good thing. So taking this line of thinking and having this thought process in life, not just when I was working there, having this thought process in life, because now my girlfriend's 2 daughters, they like things where I'm just like, why the fuck do people like this? But it is what it is. A lot of people like those things. So this girl starts performing the national anthem. And my first thought is people probably I've never heard of her before, but people probably like her music a lot if she's doing the national anthem at the Major League Baseball home run derby. And she's the way that she's singing, I was like, this sucks. But maybe this is her artistic twist on the national anthem that other people enjoy. Maybe it's just not my cup of tea. So I had to like rework my brain so that I want to, when she was done singing the song, did I want to tweet that was the worst national anthem I've ever heard? Yes. But my first thought was, if I tweet this, I feel like I'm going to be in the minority and people are going to shout me down and be like, no, that was beautiful. What are you talking about? That was the best national anthem I've ever heard. Like, you've never heard of this person before? This is how she sings, and it's so artsy, and she put her own did
you not hear like the murmuring in the stadium while it was going on?
Oh,
like,
I
the
did.
last thing I was concerned about was being in the minority of opinion on what was going on.
I did, but I also, to use a wrestling reference, Cody Rhodes was supposed to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania this year. And then The Rock came out and took his spot, and the crowd there went nuts. They loved it. They were like, yeah. The internet reaction was fuck this. And they like, the backlash was so bad that they had to change the main event at WrestleMania. So when I'm there, I'm like, maybe it just sucks here. I was like, maybe this just isn't my cup of tea. Maybe this person is famous. Like, there's a lot, like the Super Bowl party that you guys went to. There was someone performing there. I had never heard of her before, and she had like 38 million Instagram followers. Like, I know that I just like don't have a grasp on what's cool anymore. So I'm thinking like, this is like a famous person that I just don't know who this is. And she's singing in her style that I think a lot of people probably enjoy, and I just don't. So I didn't feel compelled to tweet, this is the worst national anthem I've ever heard, because I thought that the responses were going to be like, fuck you, dude. What do you mean? This is Ingrid. You don't know Ingrid? Like, this is how, like, her voice is beautiful. And then lo and behold, like 24 hours later, she's like, yeah, guys, I was shit-faced. Sorry, I'm going to rehab. So it's just a bad read by me. By me.
Yeah, I tweeted I'm going to bill the home run derby for new ear holes. Yeah, eardrums. I don't regret that. I mean, I do want to be clear that I think the mocking of her for saying that she has to go to rehab is total bullshit. And anybody doing that on the internet can just like fuck off with that. But in terms of like the in the moment experience of listening to it, like it was me, Joey. I know you said you were sitting. Me, Joey, and Dallas were sitting in a very close but separate spot, and we just kept looking at each other like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, and then I feel like the reaction in the stadium was one of confusion. It was,
yeah.
It was like people, not like confusion as to what you're talking about. Like, is this good confusion? It was, what is happening? And how
are we being
am I
pranked?
Yeah. How am I supposed to be reacting to this as we're experiencing it? So it was, it was jarring. It was the most memorable anthem performance I have ever heard live by leaps and bounds. I'm not even sure I remember another one. And I'll remember this for the rest of my life, for sure.
By the dawn's early light.
So far, so good.
It's just different right now, right?
Yeah. When she starts like moaning, that's when I started making fun of her. Well, she then is like mispronouncing words too.
Well, she's also cutting herself off because she can't hit the notes.
Yeah. What?
So gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare.
That part was tough.
That's when you knew.
That's when you
this
knew
isn't
this is-
right.
yeah.
Yep.
Gave proof through the night
Night.
that our flag was still there.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
Oh,
Dude, listen to the crowd. Did
No,
you hear
that's-
the crowd? Oh, that's them saying this.
Star.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought that's them gasping.
They copied the Orioles. I don't like that.
O'er the land of the free.
That's when I
was the
thought we were
gas.
being. That was gas.
That was
Of the brave.
That was gas.
that was gas, dude. That's the best artist, man. You go out there and it's like a lot of people hate it, man. Look out through history, man. You want to make art that really fucking puts a needle in society and makes society look at itself, man. A lot of people don't like that. It makes you think like maybe they just don't like our country.
Right.
So it's like kind of testing Texans.
O'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
That was gas. Yeah. Well, all the best to her. I'm very excited for the Redemption national anthem. That's coming. I don't know what event
I
is
think it's
going
Dinger Derby.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Say it. I was about to say it.
Yeah.
Let's get her inside. Better acoustics. I know that was also inside. But
better acoustics.
It's gonna be, we'll get her a little. I guess no alcohol beforehand.
No,
if she
no,
wants
no,
it.
no,
If she wants it, though.
No, she's not allowed. No, she is on the road to recovery. We wish her well at the 2025 Dinger Derby. She's invited. I'd love to see the redemption. That's going to be a great moment. Wherever it takes place, hopefully it's here with us. She's invited. But yeah, that was a moment. That was definitely a moment from the home run derby. Again, we went back and kind of watched it on TV after we were there, and the general consensus was like it felt more entertaining on TV than being there. And for the All-Star game, for the past few years, when we've been in the host city for the All-Star game, I've not gone to the game because it is like the conversation on Twitter is usually about the broadcast. When you've got players mic'd up, when there's just different things going on. Like the Alek Manoah being mic'd up while he was pitching thing was really cool. Like you're just missing out on that if you're actually there. Not to discourage anyone from going, but you're just missing out on stuff like that. So we watched it on TV. You basically got the moments that you came for the most part, like especially for me. Jarren Duran hitting the game-winning home run and winning MVP was very cool. You got Mason Miller versus Shohei Ohtani, and you got the punch out. You got Paul Skeens versus Aaron Judge. You got an Ohtani home run. Outside of that, everything else was a bonus. The things that you really wanted to get out of this All-Star game, we got. And I believe it was another year where it was the highest rated All-Star game of any sporting event.
I think it also
It always
bounced back. It also bounced back, I think last year's was particularly low rated from the All-Star game. And it bounced back from that, which is good. No, I joked that it was like the baseball is dead All-Star game. It feels like all of the things that we touched on as being tentpole kind of concepts for the All-Star game basically happened. And that was cool. And to see Duran win the MVP was super cool as well. I still think Ohtani's homer was the single most memorable thing for me in the game, even though the team lost. But it was cool that in a lot of senses the Stars were on display in a way that's not necessarily always true in the All-Star game.
Yeah. Yep. And then didn't A-Rod say something like, I don't think people realize how popular Shohei Ohtani is or something.
I'm sure he said something like that. Yeah. Now we do because he told us though.
Yeah, no, I didn't appreciate him before, but now I'm looking into the Shohei guy and I could really see why people are into it.
We tried to get him on we should do an interview with him.
With Shohei?
Yeah, I say just put out a feeler if he wants to do next year's Dinger Derby.
Yeah, Joey speaks a little bit of Japanese, he said.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. He can lead it.
Yeah. Yes.
Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sayonara.
There you go. See, that's more words than I would be able to just pull out of my ass.
Well, he's got the greeting and the sign off
Wait.
locked.
But yeah, the All-Star Game was cool. I think we're going to save more expanded thoughts on Duran for Section 10 tonight. But to do it some justice here, hell of a story for someone with his mental health struggles that still is like telling Major League Baseball, like, you can find me all you want. Like they said, like, don't stop wearing the fuck 'em t-shirt. He's like, not only am I going to wear the t-shirt, but I'm going to wear fuck 'em on the tongues of my new cleats for the All-Star Game. I'm going to write it on my wrist tape. I'm going to wear it on the inside of my jacket for the red carpet event. And he's making it his brand now. And he's, I think I don't know exactly what organization it is, but he's selling the shirts and the money is going towards a mental health charity somewhere. So he said, I'll happily pay the fine if Major League Baseball finds me, because they've already warned him to stop doing it. And then they had their All-Star Game MVP stand in front of a million cameras wearing that on the tongue of his cleats and on his wrist tape as he's holding up the All-Star Game trophy. So they've already put the Photoshop team to work with having to post pictures of him winning the All-Star Game MVP.
It's a good example of the Streisand effect in baseball, because I think Major League Baseball calling attention to his fuck 'em stuff has made it an infinitely larger deal than it would have been otherwise.
Yeah, they did him a solid. I
mean, it's a tragedy for the game. Think about all the sponsors pulling out as we speak. This guy putting FU on his shit. I mean, it's ridiculous. We're losing some.
It doesn't say
sponsors.
fuck you. It says fuck them.
Fuck them. Who's them?
His mental demons.
You sure about that? Because I'm starting to think he's saying it to me, and I feel a little like, what's your beef, Duran?
Yeah. We'll have to ask.
I never say anything bad against him.
Nah.
I just feel like targeted at me for some reason.
Yeah, you believed in him. Jay Hay believed in him so much, he did a video essay about him.
We're in his corner.
Yeah. Hard not to be. The Miller Ohtani at bat was very satisfying, because we had already gotten the Ohtani home run. So like we didn't need to see a home run there. It was strikeout time. And Ohtani was like, trust me, I get the moment. Like, I'm going to give you the strikeout. And he did.
I mean, that's just about the nastiest fucking slider you can throw.
Right. When you're pumping 102 and then you mix in a little bit of a slide piece there that may go down as one of the best sliders you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Pretty devastating. And like I said, Ohtani had already homered at that point. Like, if Ohtani hadn't homered and you're coming in like 0 for 1 against Mason Miller, maybe you are rooting for an Ohtani homer in that spot.
I'm definitely rooting for it in that spot if that's the case.
Yes. But then you get the devastating slider. See you later.
He did what Shohei did to Trout. Got bit by his own poison there. That little slide. And then, we were giving the American League crap for not getting Aaron Judge batting fourth, but I'm guessing that like someone had to make that decision, put Mason Miller. I'm thinking that him facing Shohei had something to do with that. If that was someone's call, like we should get Mason Miller against Shohei. Genius move. Respect to that. And then also, I mean, Shohei got 3 at bats, which I felt was like, that's probably more than usual. So they might have left him in just to face Miller, and 2 thumbs up for that.
Yeah.
Because that was a highlight.
Shohei could have been like, yeah, I'm done, dude. I'm not 2 at bats I'm not getting paid for this. Also, on a combo note about the Derby, there were a lot of people that were upset that Teoscar Hernandez made it to the Home Run Derby finals, and the only Dodger that stayed to support him was Tyler Glasnow. Like, Freddie Freeman left, Shohei left, and who was the other one? There's one other Dodger that left, but some like Dodger like radio personality was like, yeah, there was like something with their kids. Like, Shohei had an event he had committed to, so that's where he was. And then Freddie Freeman, something with his kids, like he had to leave. So
family stuff,
damage control.
Typical Freddie Freeman. I got a family. Can't be a good teammate. Sorry, Teoscar.
I did notice that, and I was a little sad. I was like, wow, Tyler Glasnow is the only Dodger that stayed, and Teoscar Hernandez made it to the finals of the Home Run Derby, and he's the only one out there supporting him. I mean, you had Vladdy Jr. wearing a Blue Jays Teoscar Hernandez jersey. Like, that was pretty cool. He stayed and he supported. But you also have to consider too, like this is Tyler Glasnow's first All-Star team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's gonna soak it all in.
Well, if we were at the Derby, all those players left by like halfway through the Derby. That whole like player section, where they were all gone.
Yeah, it used to be much different. Like all the players would stay. They would all have their camcorders out. Their kids would be running around on the field with them, and it was a thing. It was the party of the summer.
Well,
And now they're too cool.
Well, it's partly that, but it's also partly that more is asked of them now. I believe. Like there was no red carpet for the All-Star Game 5 years ago.
No,
Certainly
Well,
not 20.
yes.
Not 20 years ago, not 10
20
years ago. Like that's a pretty recent development that they've started doing that. And I think it's great for the promotion of the game and gives, you opportunities like, I saw Livy Dunn and Skeens had some viral interactions there too. So that I'm not criticizing that it exists, but I also think like if you're going to ask the players to devote, an additional probably 3 to 4 hours of their time when it's all said and done to participate in that the very next day, especially somebody like Shohei, who's going to be front and center there. Like, I don't think it's totally unreasonable that some of them would bounce a little early from the home run derby. It's give and take.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want? Do you want red carpet, or do you want them in the home run derby? Red carpet's good. You can judge who's got the hottest wife, who's got the best suit. That's what that's for. That's all that is about.
It used to be back when we
You
were
can see who
invited.
your favorite. You can see who your favorite player is fucking. That's what everyone wants to know.
Yeah.
And we get to see it right there. Hey,
Right
one of
there.
them has a hot mom, and then you get to see him on the red carpet.
Mm-hmm.
It's great for content.
It is.
And we all know who won this year. MLB made that pretty obvious.
Who was it?
Paul motherfucking Skeens.
Oh, okay.
They are an item, Jared. They're everywhere.
They're dating.
Yeah. And it's getting serious.
Wow. Congrats to the happy couple. I'm very, very happy for them. Happy for Paul. Happy for Livy. But yeah, the red carpet was a great time back when we got invited. I used to love that. Every year I had a running bit with Wally where every year on the red carpet we would do rock, paper, scissors and then see who won the next year. And we didn't get invited. And there were Braves fans being like, oh yeah, you guys didn't get invited because you criticized MLB for putting Marcell Ozuna in the home run derby. And it's like, did we criticize MLB, or did we just say like, oh man, like that's something where there's probably going to be blowback? And there was. Like, I don't think we said anything crazy or out of line on, like, no one on this podcast put their foot down and said this is unacceptable and get him out of the like, no one did that. But that's what the reaction has been. Like, I still get tweets about it now. People being like, oh yeah, Karamas doesn't believe in second chances. I'm like, what? It's very strange. Very, very odd reaction from Braves fans on Twitter over that one clip where like I don't think anyone here said anything. Like, I certainly did not die on that hill.
Hey,
It's like
we're
some
got
milk toast take.
Can you
Yeah.
blame them for being a little sensitive? I mean, they come after the Braves fans for just like second up for our guy nonstop. We get nonstop shit for Marcell Ozuna and the chop, by the way, but we get nonstop shit. We
Not
like our
from
guys.
me?
We feel, not from you, but I'm just saying they're
Nonstop shit from who?
sensitive.
From who?
They're sensitive. People online, if you're on Twitter all day and you're talking to different fan bases, anytime you're a Braves fan talking to anybody, oh, the Braves are good this year. Oh, well, you guys are a piece of shit franchise. You have Marcell Ozuna on the team. And you're a bunch of racist fucking inbred pieces of shit. These are the guys battling every single day on Twitter. They're getting their freaking nose chopped off. That's the new phrase. They're getting ridiculed online. They're a little, sensitive about their team. You got to stick up for your guys.
Sounds like
Yeah.
a them problem, not a me problem.
Yeah.
Well, now you know how it feels. You got came after. Now you know how Braves fans feel. Doesn't feel so good, does it, guys? Now you guys seem a little sensitive. Can't take a little criticism from the Bravos.
Yeah. I mean, I would take the criticism if I had the take, but the criticism hasn't matched the take that I had. Like, I didn't say like this is unacceptable and blah, blah. I was just like, man, I feel like there's going to be blowback about this. There was more blowback about us saying that there was going to be blowback. Really, think about it. But either way, it was a fun week. The Derby was fine. The All-Star Game, we got the moments that we came to see and more. But if you're looking to see some moments in the second half of this MLB season, you got to download the Game Time app. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace in Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer that it gets to the first pitch, with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Joe, when is the next game that you're going to go to?
The next game I'm going to go to, that's a good call, but maybe when the Braves are in town,
Oh,
in Washington, D.C., that would
damn.
I'm definitely going to go to those games.
When's that? Offhand, you know?
I think that's not till September, so I'll probably go to a game
be a
before
while.
that.
It'll be a little bit. Huh?
But maybe I go up to Baltimore, man. That's a ballpark to see.
Yeah, I like Baltimore.
It's getting popped. It's popping out there too.
Yeah,
these
it's always
days.
popping. Yeah, they get the bird bath. It's a good time. You can save up to 60% off by buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. With their flash deals, you can save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game of the event. They've got zone deals where you can save even more when you choose a section and you let Game Time choose the seats for you. They're all in pricing. When you toggle this feature, it shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy your tickets, and the lowest price guarantee your Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code BID for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the promo code BID for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Okay. I tweeted this last year. Rob Manfred obviously peeping my tweets. But I said, we need to bring back the days of players at the All-Star Game wearing the jerseys of the teams that they play for. It just looked better. It looked cooler. Like, I get it that they want to sell All-Star jerseys, but like the ones this year were so ugly, like no one's buying them anyway. And me personally, if my favorite player made the All-Star team, I would rather buy a Red Sox jersey with the All-Star patch on the sleeve than an American League jersey with their name on the back and it's just bright orange. I would rather have the opposite.
This is the easiest win baseball has ever been given. That Manfred is already acknowledging that it's going to be discussed, to me is it's happening. That's an acknowledgement that this is the way it's going to go. I don't think he would acknowledge that if that's not what's going to happen. I mean, regardless of what you think about the specific 2024 All-Star Game jerseys, which I was not a fan of, but to your point about different tastes or whatever earlier, willing to acknowledge that maybe that was, some people were into it. But what you can't possibly deny is pick a year that we've been doing the All-Star Game jerseys, the overall aesthetic of the experience, the photos that are taken, that are blasted out, the viewing experience while you're watching the game, the ability to be like, oh, that's what that guy looks like in that uniform in that year. Like the old photos that were coming out of the group pictures from like, you know, the line where it's like McGuire and Bonds and Gwynn or whatever from like the late 90s or whatever, or like the 1970s photos that have been coming out where it's like, you know, Mike Schmidt in the Phillies jersey, all that sort of stuff. Like it's just like, so it looked so much better in the old style. So I think it's just so obvious and has been obvious for a long time.
Yeah. And like I said, it's definitely less of a aesthetic thing for the broadcast and more of a, we want to sell jerseys. And I would rather buy a Red Sox jersey with the All-Star patch on it than a bright orange jersey that says American League on the front.
100%, way more likely. And you know what, just to go back to like the core point of what the All-Star Game is, it is a marketing event, right? And I think what's more important than selling a few jerseys that you otherwise wouldn't have sold, is that you want your star players or the players that you're trying to develop into stars be recognizable on the broadcast. And there's no better way to make them less recognizable than to all stick them in the same generic, bad-looking jerseys. You want to tune in and be like, there's Shohei Ohtani in the Dodgers jersey. There's Bryce Harper in his Phillies jersey. there's Gunnar Henderson, one of our new stars, rocking that Orioles jersey. Like, you want these people to become faces and names and recognizable to the casual fans that are tuning in for the All-Star game. And there's no better way to not do that than to make them all look the same. And ugly.
Joe, any thoughts on the jerseys?
Yeah, I agree, man. We can get new jerseys. I mean, I'm not too pressed about the jerseys, but we could get the guys in the nice jerseys. I don't know. I don't have a good take on it. You all said it. Everyone seems to want the old jerseys back. Sometimes the All-Star jerseys are okay. The ones last year were pretty good in Seattle. Remember Drake wore it? That was swag. Drake wore the Shohei jersey, and then he got hurt like the next day and was like, the Drake curse. He was wearing the All-Star jersey.
Drake's lame now, dude. Didn't you know?
Yeah. Drake is he got Marcelo Zuna'd, so he's not as popular. But anyway, yeah. I would probably guess that they do sell more jerseys if it's an All-Star jersey rather than your team's jersey with a patch, just because that's why they probably do it, to sell more jerseys. Or maybe not. Now they've realized, wow, we could sell more with the patch, then we're going to go back. It's all about money, but it can't be a significant amount of money where it really makes a difference on the bottom line. I want to say it's probably more of like a Fanatics thing, where it's like, we want to make as much jerseys as possible, and that just became one of the many. That's why they do all these City Connects and all these alt jerseys. NBA does it too. Like, the NBA is way worse. I mean, they have fucking 1,000 jerseys per team, a new one every year, just to sell more jerseys.
I'm not a hypocrite on that topic. Like, I would prefer that the NBA All-Star Game be played in the jerseys. Like, but that's not practically really a fit. Like, that's never going to happen. You can't do that because then you don't know who's on your fucking team. You know what I mean? Like, so in an ideal world, I'd love those people to be in their real jerseys too. But like, to me, it's just one of the times where I get the most frustrated with Major League Baseball is when they take the short-term dollar over what is best to grow the game and market the game over the longer or medium term. And I'm not like seething about this situation. It's just an easy opportunity for a marginal improvement, and putting players in their real jerseys is a better long-term marketing play, in my opinion, than selling a few extra ugly, bad-looking jerseys in the interim that aren't associated with any year. It's not like somebody pulls out their All-Star Game jersey from 11 years ago and it's like, oh, I know for sure, unless that's the only All-Star Game they've been to. But if you're lining them up, it's like, oh, that's the famous 1999 All-Star Game jersey. Like, no, it's just that they all run together and none of them ever end up mattering.
My favorite, one of my favorite moments from the All-Star experience was Jake just called this right down the middle. As we were leaving the Airbnb yesterday, there was a set of headphones and a pair of sunglasses on the table. And I'm like, these aren't my headphones. Are they anyone else's headphones? And they're like, no. I was like, okay. So I didn't know whose sunglasses they were. Didn't belong to anyone there. So I text Tyler. I'm like, did you leave sunglasses and a pair of headphones? He's like, those headphones are mine, but not my sunglasses. I was like, all right. I text Joe. I was like, hey, did you leave sunglasses and headphones? And then I ended up texting him again. The headphones were Tyler's, but the sunglasses are still accounted for. Let me know if they're yours. And he says, not mine. And Jake goes, he's going to text you in like an hour and be like, oh shit, those actually are mine. He's like, Joe texts me 7 hours later. Actually, those are probably mine. Are they Ray-Bans? I said, yeah, dude. And he said, shit, you still got them? I was like, I said, Eamon has them. And he said, he can keep them. All Gucci. Who's Eamon? I was like, Mike. And I said, yeah, those, they're not cheap. He'll send them to you. So he's like, okay. And he gave me the address. So just classic Joe. I didn't tell you that part, Jake. I was like, not only did he claim them 7 hours later after I asked if they were his, but he said that Mike could keep them if he wanted. And I was like, dude, those are like $200 and some sunglasses. Like, he can send them to you.
The only thing
what a guy.
The only thing that could have made that story more Joe was him saying who's Eamon at the end.
Yeah. They just lived with him for a week.
Well, no one called him fucking Eamon while I was around.
That's not
His
true.
name,
Pretty much
his
all
name
that.
was Mike. I know Mike, dude. I call him Mike.
Steve calls him Eamon. I call him Eamon too.
I call him Mikey, dude. So
I call
that's
him
Mikey to me.
Eamon to other people, but when I address him to him, I call him Mike. I'll be like, Mike, I need this or blah blah blah.
Well, yeah, I wanted to size the guy. Finders keepers. You got some Ray-Bans? Keep them. And I didn't even know how I left them. I didn't wear those sunglasses once. I don't know how they got on my backpack. I probably wore them once, but I just didn't think that I had. I was like, they're probably not mine. And I checked my backpack. Oh shit, I only got one because I brought 2 pairs of shades by accident.
Yeah.
So that was kind of part of the mix-up. And I don't even really like those glasses anyway. They kind of hurt my head a little bit. So if Eamon wants them, he could have them.
I'll tell him to listen to this, and then he can decide based on the vibes.
Finders keepers.
Yeah, finders keepers. I mean, he put him on at the airport, and he looked good in them. So,
And I want to see Eamon shine, dude. I like that.
yeah,
Like I said, I already got a backup pair. So if we got 2 boys looking fly, I think that's better than 1 boy looking fly.
that's right. It's a good point. You sound like someone that needs life insurance, Joe.
I need health insurance.
Yeah, you do. Let's start there.
We'll work on the health insurance. Let's, but for now, we all talk about the sort of things that we would do to protect our loved ones, all the extreme stuff. You hear about those great stories about the mother, the child pinned under the car and the mother summons the strength to lift a car up. We've all heard that one.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you don't have to. What's that?
I've done it myself.
You've lifted a car?
Off a child, yeah. But that was it's something else. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a second. Thankfully, you don't have to do that. I mean, even though Joey did, if he would have known
Look it
about
up.
this, he wouldn't have. Where would I look that up?
Time Magazine 2009.
Okay, all right.
I was 12.
Let's
I was
earmark.
12.
Let's earmark that Time Magazine's issue. But we're going to talk about Ethos right now because you can protect your loved ones in minutes with Ethos. You don't need to lift cars. You don't need to do a Time Magazine profile. It's affordable life insurance that's quick, easy, and all online with no medical exams.
Wow.
I've used Ethos. It's really, really straightforward. That's what I like about it. It's a very easy process to get started. Don't wait. Start your policy instantly today so that your family is protected. My family is protected. No, there's no medical exam required. You just answer a few health questions, 100% online. You get to see your rate in minutes. Term life policies start as low as $10 a month. Think about all the things that you spend $10 a month on. Are any of them as important as life insurance? Ethos offers customizable coverage to fit your needs and your budget. You get everything done online, as I said before, without complicated forms, doctor's appointments, or really waiting for results. You just answer those health questions online and you get covered instantly. You can personalize your coverage to your family's needs. Can help kids through college, your spouse with the mortgage, or your family with income replacement, and more. Affordable options from 10 to 30 years of coverage. Protect your family today. Get up to $2 million in term life insurance coverage in 10 minutes with Ethos. Answer a few health questions online and get your free quote at ethoslife.com/BID. That's ETHOS life.com/BID. Protect your family today. Get up to $2 million in coverage in just 10 minutes at https://ethoslife.com/BID. Thanks to Ethos for sponsoring us.
Yeah, big shout out to Ethos. Big time shout out. Last thing here, storylines for the second half. What storylines for you guys are you most looking forward to seeing pan out? Jay?
So, no breaking news for the listeners of this podcast. I'm obviously a stats nerd, so a lot of what I'm looking forward to is individual pursuits of interesting numbers. So, first and foremost, that the number for me is now that obviously now that Shohei already passed Harold Baines, so the biggest accomplishment of the season is already behind us. Aaron Judge's pursuit of breaking his own AL mark, going higher than that. He's obviously got 34 through 96 games. That's something I'm going to be looking forward to. Joey's touched on, Shohei going possibly 40-40, 50-30, 50-40. All of that is interesting. But bigger picture, I'm interested to see if Shohei Ohtani can be the first DH to win the MVP award. I'm interested to see Elly De La Cruz, exactly where he's going to end up in terms of stolen bases. He's at 46 through 96 games. Obviously, with 17 homers, we've got the potential for sort of a different twist on what Ronald Acuna did last year. If he can get to 30 homers and 80 stolen bases or 30-70, one of the most exciting players in the game. I'll be watching that. And then, just in terms of team stuff, I am still, I know in a lot of these divisions, there are non-trivial gaps between the first and second place teams. I'm still keeping an eye on some of these. Like there's only 4.5 games separating the Brewers and Cardinals. I don't think the Brewers are that much better than the rest of the division, even with the run differential gap, that we should be closing the book on that. I think ultimately the Braves are going to make, I don't think they're going to win the division. I think they're going to make something of a push in the second half to make that more competitive than it currently is. We've talked about the AL West quite a lot recently. We know how tight that one is. And I think I'm very confident that Cleveland's making the playoffs no matter what. But I'm also not closing the book on that division. Minnesota down to 4.5 there. I do think it's going to come down to the two of them, with all due respect to Kansas City. But I think we're going to have some, and then obviously the wild card stuff that we've talked about. But I think there's quite a lot to get excited about in the second half.
Joe, what storyline?
No, he named them all.
Yeah.
He did like 14 topics. So I had like 4 backups. You said every single one of them. But
he did say storylines.
Yeah, storylines.
I'm messing around. I got some for you. The obviously Yankees Orioles. That's like the one division I'm actually genuinely kind of interested in to see who's going to win it.
It's a 2-team race, Joe.
Sorry. Red Sox are creeping in, and that could be a still horrendous story.
4.5, dude.
Yeah, I'm still thinking the Red Sox could get a viral playoff song this year. And
yeah, maybe.
So that's on the watch list.
It's a 3-team race.
It is a 3-team race as it stands. I would.
If it's not
Orioles,
a 3-team race, then crown the Cleveland Guardians, because the Twins are in second place, 4.5 games back.
I think it's absolutely a 3-team race.
Yeah, it's a 3-team race. I think the Yankees and the Orioles have a better chance than the Red Sox.
Well, yeah, I just saw on Brooksgate, the Red Sox have the number 1 most difficult strength of schedule for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't
also, I'm just in terms of storylines that interest me, seeing that the Red Sox and all Orioles have been in fights like three series in a row now. They got this long-standing beef. Do they have any more games against each other? I hope they do.
Who?
The Orioles and the Yankees.
I believe so, yeah.
I hope, because they're throwing at each other, they're fighting, and they're fighting a playoff spot. So that's an interesting storyline that I like. I'm interested. I think playoff races, usually like divisional races, have kind of like been watered down, obviously, because of the playoff race, because of the expanded playoffs, but since these two teams have an actual, like, they seem to hate each other, and they're two star-studded teams, I actually want to see that. And Yankees fans will have a mental fucking breakdown every time they lose like 4 games in a row, which is also interesting. So I'm on the lookout for that hardcore. And then the trade deadline. I want to know, like, I mean, I'm interested to see where Scooble's going. If he goes anywhere.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
That'd be a big, but if he does.
Yeah, I don't think he's
But
going
no.
anywhere. I don't think he's going anywhere. For me, outside of the obvious, the Red Sox, I am very intrigued to see what they do at the trade deadline. I want to see what they do at the trade deadline. I want to see, is this a playoff team? I mean, we're basically at 50% odds. We're a coin flip for October, Jake. And with the whole strength of schedule thing, maybe that's why Craig Breslow was so hesitant to say that they were going to buy, because it's like, yeah, like we're the 6th wild card and, you know, we've got the Royals up our ass. But that schedule in the second half that's going to be a doozy. But we'll see.
I'm sorry, dude. Yeah, I know Jay wants to fucking
No,
call
go,
the Orioles.
go.
Oh, the Red Sox. To make that excuse, like, listen, we were going to buy because we are literally in a playoff spot, but like the schedule looks kind of tough.
That's literally what the Red Sox are doing.
Dude.
Like they're looking at the playoff odds and saying, you know, we haven't decided if we're going to buy yet because Fangraph says that it's only a 48% chance that we make the playoffs. Like that's literally what they're fucking doing over here.
So obviously Joey's right. I think that's pathetic. But like let's look at this in real specifics here for a second, since it's come up. Like the only part of the schedule that matters really for this conversation is the part of the schedule that exists before they have to make a decision on whether they're acquiring anybody or not. And the teams that they're playing are the Dodgers, who are admittedly very good, but have not played great baseball lately. They open the second half with them. You then have 3 games in Colorado, which I know presents their own choices. But listen, man, it's the fucking Rockies and they suck. Okay. So like, so far we have played 6 games in the second half and 50% of those games are against a team that is utter garbage and not competitive for the 2024 season. You then play the Yankees and you play the Seattle Mariners, who admittedly are very good teams, but the Red Sox have to be considered at least as good as the Seattle Mariners right now. Like, why wouldn't
And they've
they
already
be?
taken 2 series from the Yankees.
Right. So like, yeah, you just stood up against the Yankees not 2 weeks ago, and the Mariners have to be viewed as a team that you are on the same level with, if not better right now. So like, those are the 4 series that are happened before the trade deadline or leading up to the trade deadline.
They do
So,
have
like,
a better record than the Mariners, by the way.
Exactly. So like, I know we've spent most of the season talking about Seattle one way and Boston another way, and we had different expectations for these teams going into the season. But right now they're the same or similar quality of teams. So we're talking about 4 series, one of which is against a team, maybe 2 that are better than you, and the other 2 series are against teams that are currently objectively worse than you are. So what are we talking about in terms of we're gonna let a hard schedule dictate? You need to make the decision now. Like it's just crazy. This is the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
Well, can I play a little devil's advocate?
Please.
Just from the Red Sox perspective? I mean, you got to assume Tristan Casas is coming back sometime in the second half. Wouldn't
Yes.
you say that's basically a trade deadline acquisition? That's an acquisition.
Yeah.
Why didn't you got?
Well, because first base isn't the only spot on this team. He's not going to. Tristan Casas coming back doesn't help the pitching staff. It doesn't make Brian Bayo better. Like there are plenty of.
Brian Bayo's the fucking mop-up guy once we get to the playoffs.
I understand, but like you have to get there, brother. Like you know that. Like there are plenty of people that are not first basemen. And I'm not advocating that they try and upgrade on one of the best first basemen in the league. Like there are plenty of positions on the Red Sox that could be upgraded without bankrupting your farm system. That it's, to your point, it could be a double trade deadline feel when you get Casas back, and you're also adding a pitcher who makes the team significantly better. Like some teams postseason, like trade deadline calculus is about, does this make us better for a postseason series? Like I get that that's how the Dodgers are going to focus on the postseason. That's maybe how the Phillies are going to focus on the trade deadline. That's how the Phillies are going to focus on the trade deadline. That's not necessarily the math for the Red Sox. The Red Sox have to get there. And so there are plenty of other people who make sense from them from a rotation standpoint that maybe aren't a frontline starter that are going to be shut down in a short postseason series.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, at this
I was
point,
joking about Casas, by the way. I was joking around.
Mm,
And
I don't joke about him.
no. We kind of need the Yankees to win the division, Jake. Because if the Yankees win the division, then we would get Seattle in the wild card round, which I'm good with that. And then we would get the Yankees in the divisional round, which I'm more than good with that. And then that puts us in the ALCS, probably against the Guardians or the Orioles. So, or the Twins, I guess. But, I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but if the chips fall the right way, there definitely is a path for the Red Sox to get to the ALCS. Like, we were joking about it when they were 500, but it's kind of fallen that way since then.
Well, do you think this team is that much worse, or do you think they're better than 2021?
They're definitely not as good at, like, they were in first place at the deadline, I believe, in 21.
Mm-hmm.
The 21
But
team is definitely better.
Based on like the talent who's on the roster.
Yeah, the 21 team is better. But I mean, let's see what they do at the deadline. The Rangers might be selling off some pieces. Bring Nate back. Get Nate back over here. Add a starter. They add a starter. It's a different team. But there's definitely a path for the Red Sox to make some noise this October if the chips fall the right way. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out. I'm just kind of curious. But I'm also curious about the AL West. The Houston Astros being a team that was dead and buried, whatever it was, 11, 12 games under 500 to now going into the break 4 games over 500, just 1 game back of first place. I mean, they very realistically could have overtaken first place going into the break. They lost their last 2, and the Mariners have lost their last 3. So they could have completely overtaken Seattle going into the break. But that division race is very much enticing to me. Yeah, we may not get Seattle as a playoff option at all. I mean, like if Seattle gets overtaken by Houston, I don't think that they'll fit in that wild card mix, right?
Sorry if you already said this, but did you mention that they opened up the second half against each other?
No, I did not know that. Ooh, that's juicy.
Yeah, Houston and Seattle, they play in 3-game set in Seattle, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Damn. Okay. That's juicy. But that division race is something to keep an eye on. As far as like the National League wild card, I know people are like, yeah, the National League kind of sucks, but the Mets, after everything that we said, they hold a playoff spot, and below them, there's some intriguing teams that could, like, the National League's 6th wild card spot is something to pay attention to. And I don't even think the 2nd wild card spot is a shoo-in. You're going to get the Braves. The Braves are not going to catch the Phillies. So take the 1st wild card spot out of it. It's the Atlanta Braves. Okay. Then you have the St. Louis Cardinals with a negative 38 run differential. So, like, let's not put that in Sharpie that St. Louis is going to the postseason. Then you have the Mets, who are the 6th wild card spot, who have a 1-game lead over the D-backs and the Padres, and just a game and a half back is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Is Paul Skeens and Jared Jones enough to get Pittsburgh into one of those spots? If, looking at St. Louis, like, they are not as good as their record would tell you they are. So there's going to be 2 spots in play, fair or unfair. The 5th and 6th seeds for the 2nd and 3rd wildcard spots in the National League are up for grabs between 6 teams.
Yeah. Yes. I think that's 100%. I would go 7. I mean, all the way down to the Cubs.
Cincinnati?
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, the Cubs too, yeah.
Yeah, the Cubs are 3.5 back. Are the Cubs a worse team than the D-backs? I'm not totally
it's 8
convinced
teams.
of that.
8 teams are in play for 2 spots.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I think all of these teams are still in the mix. I know everybody's feeling good about Skeens right now, and you brought up Jones, who's currently sidelined or whatever, but I think there is a chance that we look back on the time Paul Skeens spent in the minor leagues right to start this season off, and was that necessary? We'll never really know, but the Pirates are currently a game and a half out of a postseason spot. and those missed starts, quote unquote, could come back to haunt the Pirates.
I see it the opposite, because they're gonna have to like handle him with kid gloves and not have him throw like a ton of innings.
Yes.
So like
it depends
that
on what
kind
their priorities are. Yeah.
But like they can't, even if they're in the race. If Paul Skeens got over like 200 innings, they had to do what they did to Strasburg with the Nationals. Like they're going to do that. So the fact that they let him only pitch like 2 innings for the first month might actually help them a little bit, because then they feel better about letting Skeens like pitch deeper in the season and like rack up more innings.
Yep. And if they miss the playoffs by a game, then I think it's fair to question that sequence of events.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right that a fresh Paul Skeens is their only chance of doing any real damage in the postseason. So you absolutely need him upright and ready to go. And his long-term health is obviously more important than an individual wildcarded experience.
Jake, what are you looking forward to in the second half of the season?
Yeah, I'm just excited about the Sox, man, for all the reasons that you laid out earlier. Just the fact that we're even in this position with a chance to make a playoffs is crazy. Thinking back to in the offseason, how I thought this team was going to do, it's just great that they're exceeding expectations. I'm excited to see how it plays out here.
It's going to be a fun second half. I'm excited for it. You got any nugs, Jay?
I don't.
Wow.
Yeah, I went nug free today. I didn't.
Wow.
I didn't expect that we would. Yeah, it caught me off guard.
Damn.
So we'll have to revisit on Monday after a weekend of action.
Yeah, today's more of just like a get reacclimated to society podcast.
Yeah, plus they're still figuring out a lot of like who's actually pitching tomorrow when I went to look this morning. So it's like, we'll just we'll see on the backside for the Nugs.
That
Like
makes sense.
half the starting pitchers for the weekend aren't even announced yet. So that's a tough one.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Manfred.
Thanks, Rob.
Joseph, any final thoughts today?
Now that I'm thinking about my final thoughts, I'm just wishing everybody good health for the second half. That's my main thing. Like, that's all I want to see. I want to see everybody in the podcast, especially, stay healthy. I want to see us all make it to the playoffs. No injury, no surgery. I know we got players going down with esophaguses. Could you imagine if one of us goes down with an esophagus?
I had that.
There you go. I mean, we got to be careful with Jared. Make sure he's healthy. Ice that throw, because if that happens again, man, you ain't talking for the rest of the year. You're on the freaking 60-day.
Right.
I mean, we saw with this guy. I mean, definitely Dustin May has a neck the size of a giraffe. So I think that probably hurt him a little more. And Jared's got a little bit more of a normal sized neck. So he could probably withstand a esophagus. Dustin May.
Good solid
neck.
neck.
Yeah,
He's got Dustin May's long neck. So, but we don't need it. I want everybody to be healthy. That's it.
It's a good final thought. Jay, do you have a final thought?
I do. It's kind of I'll try not to ramble like I did for storylines, but it is a little bit multi-pronged. I just, you were very eloquent in laying out the production support and resource support that we got from Underdog. I want to echo that sentiment. It was, it really felt like an entire unit pushing in the same direction. Secondly, one of the very highlights for me of the whole trip was the four of us in Dallas doing the podcast together live. You can't replicate in person. And it's those, when we do them together, are always the funniest podcasts of the year, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I just could not stop laughing during that. And it was just it was late night. So it was a little goofy, but it was a really fun time. And I'll remember that like I remembered when we did it in Atlanta. And then lastly, it was just very cool to spend a lot of time with a bunch of people that I had not spent extended amount of time with. I had not seen Steve in years in person. I had not seen Jake and Joey, obviously, since I saw Jake at your house. I had not seen Joey since Atlanta, and I had never spent any real extended time with Tyler or Jeremy or Mike. Or certainly not Connor. So it was really cool. And the whole family, everybody pulling together in the same direction aspect. I couldn't echo more convincingly. So those are my final thoughts.
Well said, Jay. Well said. Yeah, it is. It's a very cool thing that we have going on over here. And I guess it really didn't even hit me until I said it out loud, like in the car going to the airport. I was like, wait a second. Like everyone that is on this team is someone that we handpicked. Like I've never had that before. It's rare in this industry, by the way. That's not like a, finally we got this. It's like, no. Like that's just not something that is common, or at least in my experience, it's not, that you would just be co-hosting shows with people that were handpicked by you and having those shows be worked on from the production side with all people that were handpicked by you. Like that's why it's as good as it is because they're friends of ours. They're very good at what they do and they care about what we're putting out. So again, shout out to all of those people on the trip: Jake, Jeremy, Mike, Connor, who does our social and kicked our ass in the home run derby. Big thanks to all of them. And Jake's takes.
Yeah, just an awesome trip. Had a lot of fun hanging out with everybody. Thank you everyone for tuning in for the derby and being patient with us. Appreciate all the support there. Looking forward to next year.
We gon'